And we're back on the Fowler Show. It's time for your celebrity fix. Yes, indeed, it is true. And the first story for you, we're talking about my boy, Colin Kaepernick. And there is a growing movement afoot to boycott the NFL until Colin Kaepernick gets a job. Yes, indeed, America, it is true. There was a big rally in front of on Park Avenue in front of the NFL headquarters on August 23rd. And people are saying that, this is a big deal. This Colin Kaepernick not getting a job is really, there's an online petition with over 175,000 signatures. On August 18th, the Atlanta chapter of the NAACP called for a boycott. Days later, the NAACP sent an official letter to the NFL requesting a meeting with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. And this thing continues to grow. It's sort of like it's snowballing. I know some folks who are involved in it. Now, here's my thing on this Kaepernick thing. So one, I think that Kaepernick should get a job, right? And I think I'm not saying that Colin is the best quarterback in the league. That's not what I'm saying. But I think Cap is better than a lot of quarterbacks that are currently employed, absolutely, right? And I think the reason why Cap is not being employed, or Kaepernick is not being employed, has everything to do with the fact that he utilized his First Amendment right to say, there is a problem here in the United States of America. And I think other players are saying, whoa, wait a minute now. What Kaepernick is like, if Kaepernick is being penalized for speaking truth to power, what's happening here? Now, there's been some commentators in the media that have sort of taken issue with Colin speaking out. Some have said the NFL's not racist because all the players are black. And to them, my response is, that's like saying, in 1820, slavery wasn't racist because all the people picking cotton were black. The fact is that the NFL, all the NFL owners are rich white people. The NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, is a rich white guy. And the people who watch the game, 40 to 50% of them are African Americans. Now, here's the hard part. And here's what people don't understand. Now, this is something that graphs can't usually measure. And in economics, it's called a consumer taste, right? Consumer taste is something that you really can't measure because you can't pick it up right away. But last season, we saw a drop in NFL ratings overall, right? So it started to slowly, what we would say the demand for NFL games started to slowly make a downtick. And that had everything to do with black people slowly decreasing their viewage of NFL games. The question is, will this continue going into this new season? And the answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't know. Right? And what will we see? We're getting close to the season. Will we see more players say, I will take a knee during the national anthem to show solidarity for Colin Kaepernick and to say that there is injustice in this country? This is not let me be very clear. Just because you choose to take a knee in the national anthem does not mean you're against our troops, does not mean you're un-American. What it says is we have some injustice in this country that we need to deal with. And I'm going to use my platform as a player to speak out against that injustice. Now, let me be very clear. It has always been individuals that have platforms that spoke out for injustice. If Jackie Robinson never spoke out for injustice, we wouldn't have an integrated baseball league today. If Muhammad Ali never spoke out against injustice, we wouldn't have integrated boxing today. It has always been individuals with platforms that have spoken out for injustice. So to say that it's wrong for these players to speak out, I think is preposterous. But now the question we have to ask ourselves here is, what is it going to take for Roger Goodell to stand up and say, okay, I think we have a problem here, and we at the NFL are going to do everything in our power to work with these players and work with some of these cities to try to fix it. Now, we have to wait to see what happens there, right? But this is a major problem of epic proportion, and it didn't start happening last night. The injustice is being faced by people of color. America, it's ain't nothing new. It didn't happen last night. This has been going on for a very long time. But finally, people are woke, and we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, you know, when you have people walking down an American street with tiki torches against a president saying that they're violent on many sides, and there are good people protesting on the neo-Nazi side, that's why people are upset, and that's why people are angry. And why, yes, we're sort of confronted now with a natural disaster like Harvey, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that there is a history, 400 years of compounded racism and bigotry in this country that is now rearing its ugly head. The seeds of it the seeds of it are now rearing its ugly head. These are now trees, big oak trees, sitting in our front yards that we're going to have to deal with, right? And I think finally people are speaking up and they're saying they've had enough. And we'll see what happens here. But I'm telling you, I think if we can get together and get organized, right? If folks who want to, you know, boycott the NFL can get organized and can get their act together, they might do some damage. Maybe they'll chant, maybe the NFL and the owners will say, hey, listen, you know, we're going to make some changes. I mean, I think the NBA is a little bit ahead of the curve. Like we already know, I mean, likely, you know, it's very likely that the NBA champions will not be at the White House, or at least if they go to the White House, half the team ain't showing up, right? The MVP says he will not go, right? I mean, the Kennedy Center honorees, the president just said, listen, I'm not even going to go to the honorees. I'm not holding a reception because none of the honorees want to go to the White House. So the celebrities and artists are saying our artistry and our freedom to be artists is against everything you stand for as president, and thus we won't do it. So we'll see.